Oh, we're getting really good at that.
We are.
That felt really synced up.
We are.
Intro time?
Yeah.
I'm Sir Flowbojan Thunderhammer.
And I'm Teflon Frosthammer.
And I'm Cabbage Tidehammer.
And this
Is
WAK.
If Amtgard knighthood means anything, you can't knife a motherfucker and keep it.
And the thing that people need to understand essentially about arts and sciences events is that your scores don't matter.
Do you want a black phoenix or a white phoenix?
Jeez, language, man. We're on
right.
a freaking podcast, for fuck's sake.
Mind-blowing experience, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WAK, where we discuss topics important to the Amtgard community at large and talk with interesting people from around the foam fighting world. This week we got a Hammertime. We got a couple of things to catch up on here. We've done maybe like 10 or 11 episodes where it was just guests, and we recorded those, a lot of those up front because we were going to be doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it's been a grip since we've recorded a new one.
Yeah.
I almost forgot to unmute us when the intro ended. That's how long it's been. I forgot how this works.
So if we've forgotten how to do this in the 6 weeks or so since we've recorded an episode, you'll have to forgive us. But one of the things that I wanted to start us off with is we had an episode, I don't know how many back now, where Merrick and Michael Hammer of God were going to be coming in to our event, which went really, really well. I think that the event was really cool, and I wanted to do kind of an unpack of that event and some of the really cool things that happened there, because we've got quite a few.
Oh, man. Yeah. Fuck, we haven't actually formally discussed the event, have
No,
we?
not at all.
Huh. Where do we start? Okay, shit. Hold on, I gotta some masterhoods.
Yeah.
There was a knighting. There was fucking knighting. That was a big
good.
deal. Pizza boxes.
Yep.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Yep.
Yep.
Fuck, am I missing anything else?
No, you, big Fire Nation quests, Earth bending quests.
Oh yeah, the
all
quest lines.
bending
That was
quests.
goobery.
Yeah, well, so were we. So
Yeah, nailed it actually.
so here's where we'll start. I'm actually going to start with the questing.
Do we get
so,
the rewind sound from the old VHS?
Yeah.
If I remember, I will edit that in. I will not remember to do that.
So we get there, and Cabbage is playing the Earth Nation King, or just a
no,
quest giver?
I'm just an NPC. Technically, he would have been the Earth Nation King because he's King Boomy and he's got.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So you
Unfortunately, my hat didn't make an appearance because it broke.
And then you found God, so you became the Cabai, and there's a lot of.
Yeah, it was weird.
Lexi said that there was no way that makes it through 2 events, and
Was
she was
correct.
Yep. But yeah, so we get there, everything gets set up. We do a little bit of questing. You are one of the quest givers, and this is going to be very important because it became kind of the cornerstone of what our little group did for most of the time, which, by the way, was not what was assigned to us.
No, not at all.
So, all of the quest givers were allowed to set their own quests. Did I understand that correctly? You got to basically make up whatever you wanted.
Yeah. So okay, the event that we ran was essentially Book of Heroes, which is something that Winter's Edge has done before, and it's a constantly immersive, all-day questing dungeon battle game event. I don't know that there were very many battle games, but it was like all-day questing. People were trying to collect tokens and everything else. My job as the Earth Kingdom NPC, shock to everybody, I was the My Cabbages guy. That writes itself. But my job was to write quests that were Earth Kingdom themed, that had Earth Kingdom specific rewards that you could cash in. I don't think my particular rewards were super useful because what everybody really needed was like a refresh, and that wasn't Earth Kingdom-y. So nobody wanted anything I had. But yeah, we had like the week up to it to write quests, and then we kind of found out the day of that we weren't going to have people to like work as NPCs in our quests like we thought we were going to. So that like I literally had to rewrite some of my quests the morning of to make them work. Also, if you had a quest from me that day, that was the most hungover I have ever been in my entire life. Thank you for going easy on me, because holy shit. But in general, yeah, we had different quests throughout the day at like certain time slots.
I want to pause you for just a sec too, because I think this is kind of a cool point to talk about. We try to hit something for our newer players or less experienced players every single time, and this is kind of a cool point. You had a setup where you thought you were going to have a certain number of people that would be available to you for your quests. There goes my mic. You get there and it turns out that those people are not going to be available to you.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up running a lot more activities during the day than we had thought we were going to run, so those people ended up getting sucked up in other things.
So what do you do then? Let's make this a learning lesson in case anyone else ever ends up in a similar position, or you're planning a day event or something like that, and you say, cool, I'll have 13 NPCs there and we're all going to be cool, and then only 7 people show up. Do you think moving forward that you would scale this in some way to kind of make it easier for you in the future?
So that's kind of what I ended up doing. I made some of my quests a lot harder than they were meant to be. So for an example, my first quest, appropriately named My Cabbages, I literally bought a bunch of cabbages from Kroger and hid them around the event site, like just wherever, and had people go find them. Now, the gimmick to that was that I only had 9 cabbages. No, I'm sorry. I had 10 cabbages, but you had to bring them to me all at once, and you had to bring me 6 cabbages. So nobody could bring, half the cabbages and succeed. Somebody had to have the majority of the cabbages at one time. So I made that harder because it was going to be, everybody can win. Somebody bring me 3 cabbages, and, your team gets a point, and you can move on to the next quest. Because we weren't supposed to take up a lot of people's time. And when we found out we weren't going to be able to do that, I said, okay, I'm going to make this quest harder, so that people have to spend more time on it, but it's more interesting. Also, I unintentionally made that quest harder because Catnip, who was the Poppet Crat for that quest, we talked about this in a previous episode, but a bunch of the kids that she was watching ended up taking, they found the cabbages and they built a little stockpile of them. And then our role players would come to the kids and be like, hey, can I have that cabbage? And they're like, no, I'll trade you for it. And dead.
I legit saw them before everything started, and the kids had the cabbages, and was like, you should trade those for things you want, like candy or something. Dude, and they're like, yeah, we're doing that.
They did. Dead ass, the kids were like, we will trade you this cabbage for a box of Teddy Grahams. And the people left the side in their car, went to the grocery store, bought Teddy Grahams, came back and got a cabbage. Unintentionally made the quest harder, right? And then the other thing I did was I sort of reused elements from other quests to try and make it a little bit more difficult. Mm-hmm. So one of my quests later during the day was that you had to bring people to get stamped by the Daili, and they couldn't know why they were being stamped. So you couldn't just get your buddy and be like, hey, come over here and get the stamp on your hand so I can win this. It had to be you had to convince them, and people were running around gaslighting people to get a stamp on their hand. People would come up to me.
Do you have a story for that?
Oh, dude. So Madness was really leaning into it, and God bless him, his team didn't win, but he was doing the best because he was like people were coming up to me, all from Madness, all with different stories about why they were getting stamped. They're like, hey, I was told I have to come get a stamp for you, and I was like, yeah, what's it for? And they said, oh, I'm part of a special task force to hunt down whoever took the cabbages, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, you are. Stamp. And then another person would come up and they're like, hey, I was told I have to get this stamp so I can get into the next dungeon, and I'm like, yep, you sure do. Bam. And so just whatever you can do to get people doing ridiculous stuff, right? Originally it was just going to be, hey, bring me 5 people, or I forget the exact number, but bring me some people to get stamped. And then I was like, no, let's make this harder. They can't know why they're being stamped, and you need to bring me more people. Mm-hmm. So make it last longer to make up for the non-quests that I'm now not going to have in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And it's a good shout out to people that are doing a lot of quest writing as well. Jeff, I know you have quite a bit of experience with this too. Always have backup plans.
I don't do quests very well. I just do battle games, maybe kind of scenario battle games.
But it still applies, right?
Yeah.
If some people show up that were supposed to be, monsters or something for your battle game.
My dumb rule of thumb that I use is don't get more than 2 other people involved.
Hey, it's not a bad rule.
And then those people get 2 people, and then those 2 people get 2 people, and then those 2 people get 2 people.
They stop. You get 2 grunts, that's it. Flat out. I don't get more Reeves than that and anything like that because I don't want to have to run around and find extra people and things like that.
No, for my NPCs, I needed 2 people.
Yeah.
I needed 1 person to be a monster, and I needed 1 person to be a damsel in distress.
But yeah, take what you're doing and think ahead, right? People might get sick. People might not be able to show up. So think ahead of time and say, okay, here's my quest and I only need 2 people. What happens if I can only get 1? How do I still make this work? Because stuff like that's going to happen. This is Amtgard, right? So cool quest stuff going on there. Then we had other quest givers as well. Let's see. Kazan was the quest giver for the Fire Nation.
Yep.
And was having people do fire dances, and I don't remember what's the hippie sticks called. I always called them hippie sticks, but
Devil sticks.
Devil sticks, maybe. Yeah, you guys know they have the little tassels and you spin it around.
Yeah, they're like rubberized and they got some grip, and you gotta I don't have the hand-eye coordination for it.
So he was having people do stuff like
Jumbo
that.
Jenga, Coob, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you had Coob. Let's see. So that's
Elenia was the Water Nation.
Mm-hmm. And then Heralder was the...
We did yoga.
Air Kingdom.
Yeah, we did. So the Water Nation was doing yoga and some other stuff, which was really cool. And Heralder was walking around as the Air Nation. And I don't remember what we did to Heralder. We gaslit Heralder in some way, and it was great.
I gotta give like one shout out to Heralder because he did the funniest thing that's happened the entire weekend at this event. Elenia had a thing where she had a bunch of inflatable penguins. And it was like, hey, everybody go hide your penguin. The teams are going to have to get one from the merchant, so you've got to hide it somewhere. And I said, fuck, I don't have like pockets, or I don't want to carry this thing around. So there was a flagpole at the event site, and I tied it up by its feet because I didn't want to give the effigy that I was hanging this penguin. That was a bad vibe. I made very sure to make sure it didn't look like I was, lynching a penguin. But I hoisted it up by its feet, ran it all the way to the top of the flagpole, and I tied it off, and I stood there. And then Heralder's standing there next to me. I didn't realize he watched me do this whole thing. And so I take a step back, and I look up at it, and Heralder salutes it. And he's silent. He's dead silent for like 10 seconds. And he just goes, honk, and then walks away. Deadpan, no apropos of nothing. He's just gone. I was like, where the fuck did this dude come from? For me, that was the goofiest shit that happened all weekend because I wasn't expecting it.
So while you were doing your NPCing stuff,
man, that mic is not.
It's the connection because it keeps on tilting back. Yeah, it keeps on tilting back and forth. So it's on my side.
Okay.
I gotta go get a new mic stand.
While we were doing quests, you studied the blade.
Hey, thank you, Patreons, by the way, for the mic stand that you were just about to get me. This one's been dead for
we need
on a fucking year.
Do some more about those Patreon things eventually too.
And we really should. Hey, by the way, I'm starting up something right now for our Patreons that I'm going to do in the middle of the show, so you've got to watch the entire thing. You see these board games behind you? I'm getting rid of some of them. So we're going to do drawings once a month for our Patreons. If you'd like to subscribe, all the links are in the bottom there. And if you win, you'll get a board game. I don't know which one it will be yet. But
I assume you'll just make a pile of the ones you're getting rid of and like...
Oh, that makes it sound bad, but yes, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then
but yeah, so while you were doing your NPCing, we were all questing. I was not going to participate in the questing. I've talked about it a little bit before on the show, but I had hurt myself pretty badly a couple of years back. I tore nearly everything in my left knee. Since then, I have done a lot of tournament fighting and ditching and stuff. But questing is a whole nother ballgame, a lot more moving around, a lot more commitment, and I have a hard time kind of approaching it as a half-ass sort of thing. I want to go all in on it. So I found out that the group, which was Jeff, Merrick, Carter...
Carter, Spud from Black Spires, and Chops.
Yeah, Spud from Black Spires and Chops had formed the Peasant Militia.
Yeah, so the original plan was I was going to play a wizard and hand out Contagion to all of them. And then we were all like, I don't think we have a single spell strip between all of us this weekend, so we're just going to all be peasants. And
so I found out about this, and I ended up joining because I thought, I can do peasant. I'm not going to run around or anything. We're in this campsite was fairly large. The area that we were questing in was not just the big field where the immediate campsite was, but there was stuff off in the woods and all kinds of stuff, right? So the peasants realize, of course, that there's no way that we're going to be able to beat all of the spellcasters out there and everyone in armor. And so
you held your own.
So what we did is this. Merrick, by the way, if you're listening to this, champion of the entire event. Merrick takes a bag and fills it with snacks.
Snacks and drinks.
Right? So the rule that the peasants had was we don't really fight.
Oh, yeah. We could not... I don't think we actually fought anybody the entire time. Like, we had weapons. We used them as shovels and trowel... I don't know, all kinds of dumb stuff.
So we would go around, and when someone came up and said,
we have swords to plowshares at home.
Yeah, we did. People would come up, and they would have their weapons up and be all on guard and stuff, and we would walk up and shake hands with them and offer them food, and we would trade.
Yeah, eventually it became we were the local 420 cabbage labor union.
I was gonna say, weren't you guys like redistributing the wealth?
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
so
we were doing some of that.
We would finish a quest and get coins, and then find people to redistribute that wealth to in exchange for other quest items and stuff like that.
What was it? Paying dues. That was part of the thing. People.
Yeah, you had to pay dues.
Yeah, to be part of the union.
God.
And then we were asking for at one point. I don't remember how it started. Oh no, it was during the quest where we had walked through the poison gas. We had to cover our face not to bring to breathe it in, basically.
Yeah.
And then we got to the puzzle portion of it, and we were told that we would get 7 gold
if you wiped another group.
Yeah, and wiped another team. So like
All
we
of
had
us-
cabbage leaves in our sunglasses out like this. So we had like cabbage ears
from the cabbages that Cabbage had brought.
You also had a cabbage yarmulke.
Yeah. Well, that's where it came from. Is when we wiped them down, we literally wiped the people with a cabbage, and we go, hey, we wiped all that team over there with our cabbage leaves, and the guy was like, you know what? Good job, guys. Here's 7 gold.
And then, of course, we had to give some of the people that we wiped down some of the gold.
Yeah, and then
redistributing the wealth.
I think one of my cabbage leaves was super wilted or something versus the other one, so I stuck one of them on top of my head, and it ended up being like a yarmulke, and so someone was like, oh, look, it's the cab eye, and I'm like, oh,
that was Merrick.
Yeah.
That was Merrick that said that.
We're going this route, so we started asking for donations to the church or dues for the local 420 cabbage labor union. So,
and you know what? We got them.
Yeah.
All you had
lot.
To do was ask.
Like, I'm pretty sure every team gave something for one or both of the things.
But yeah, so we had a good time, and our good time involved no fighting at the event at all. We were going around handing out food and drinks to people, making sure people stayed hydrated. We were trading quest items and making sure that quest items were otherwise getting into the hands of people that were doing questy stuff. So it was a whole lot of fun, and I kind of think that we were kind of integral to the success of that, I'm going to say, in a weird way.
We did end up with so there was one puzzle quest thing where you would get a cipher, and they were like the early bird catches the worm or something like that, but some of the letters were a different shape that were almost distinguishable as letters, but not quite. And so you had to realize, oh, hey, this is the phrase, and this symbol is now this letter kind of deal, right?
Yeah, you had to build a cryptex in order to do it.
And we ended up with a solid half of those, I think, or more, maybe.
Little over half.
Yeah.
So Hogman's group was also collecting them, and we ended up trading with them and ended up actually giving them all of them because all of us went in and we realized that it was going to take 30 minutes or so to work through this entire thing. And we were all bored peasants and didn't want to do that, so we handed it all to them, and that was our redistribution of wealth to their group, and we ended up going back out and doing some more questing.
Mm-hmm.
This event. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that was wrapping it up there. It was a whole lot of fun, and pretty much everybody on that team was a pretty hardcore fighter. So I just want to point out, and we were just goofing, right? I just want to point out to any of the listeners out there that are like, I don't do quests or anything like that. You do. It's easy. You can find something to have fun with it. None of the
just make your own fun.
Yeah, none of the cabbage stuff. The cabai and
I'm just gonna bring 10 cabbages to every Amthgard event from now on and see what happens because half the shit that happened with those was nothing I intended.
Yeah, I think Rabbit tried to eat an entire cabbage.
Okay, Rabbit's team was like really far behind, and they still wanted to win at this point. It was lunch, so they were like, "We can still catch up." what can I do? Because we had regular tokens and honor tokens, and that's a whole thing. But the honor tokens were how you won. And so those were supposed to be really hard to get.
Oh, is that how you won?
Yeah.
I think we gave several of those away.
Those are the ones that
pretty
were
sure
like
we
the
did.
dog tags that were...
Yeah, we gave several of those away.
No, they went into the... Oh, what did we call the bag? It was the Union coffers or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a real life term, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But that was our Union bank basically, and they went in there, and we all forgot about them.
God.
Merrick sent me a
was
picture.
it like your fucking pension fund or something?
Yeah, I guess.
Merrick sent me a picture. It's like, hey, we forgot this. So we had 4 points officially, and we probably had about 12 or
Y'all might have won if you had remembered
no,
that.
I don't think so. Not at all.
But Rabbit's team was still trying to win, and he was like, "What can I do to get some honor from you?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Here, eat this cabbage. I'll give you a token for that." He's like, 2 tokens for eating the whole cabbage. I was like, "Yeah, sure, fine." And he's like, he's raw dogging this cabbage. I was like, "You should wash that first." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna see if they got any dressing in the kitchen while I'm washing it." I'm like, "Okay." He comes back and he's like, "They didn't have any dressing." Trying to eat this cabbage, and I don't know if you've ever looked at what a cabbage is like nutritionally, but it's mostly fiber, and you can't eat that. But he got 10 bites into it, and he was like, "I'm gonna die."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, bro, I gave you
fair.
an impossible task. I didn't think you would even try. Here's an honor for attempting to do that. I can't believe you even tried."
But yeah, you can have fun no matter what. The cabbages stuff wasn't a part of the original quest. Us turning it into
A religion.
the religion of the cabbage wasn't part of it. The peasant union wasn't the 420 peasant union wasn't part of it.
I just got that it was the 420. Just now hit me that it was the 420 peasant union.
Look at who's a part of it. You
Bro,
didn't,
yeah,
you didn't
no,
put it together.
it's
You were
on me.
really
I just
hungover.
didn't read.
No, you were really hungover.
Bro,
probably.
Merrick had the body armors in his bag, the drinks.
Yeah.
That's all that kept me going.
Yeah, right. But yeah, you can make your own fun. That's really what I wanted to leave everybody with there. Speaking of making your own fun, another thing that happened, which this was kind of the start off to the entire event, we had Phoenix League.
That's what I was about to say. There was instead of a night tournament or night ditching, there was night Phoenix League. I fucking love that.
Yeah, it was really good.
I thought it was really cool too. And
It was on an abbreviated field, but not by much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to get what we could covered with light, so the whole field is easily lit up.
Yeah.
I was going to say that what I liked about it was it was just in a little bit of a hill, right outside where the field was, not much, maybe 2 or 3 feet rise. And everybody had set their chairs up so that we kind of had bleachers.
Yeah, no, there was definitely a true audience spectacle kind of thing going on with it. So
Yeah, and we were passing around fake currency for people to do fake bets, or real bets, I guess, on the fighters. You didn't get anything. The fake currency was, the little crystals that you can get at a craft store for nothing.
But they were money that you could spend in the quests the following day.
Yeah, there you go.
You could buy enchants and stuff with them. That was the whole point of the betting system there. As an NPC, my job was to make really bad bets to get money into the economy. So I would go, there was a team, I don't know what their team name was, and guys, I'm sorry, but it was nobody on that team was older than 14, and I kept calling them the Extreme Teen Bible Team because I could not remember their team name. And so I was like, I'm putting money on them. And the best fucking part was they won.
dude, they
That's
were
awesome.
losing, and then they got their shit together, and they straight up won.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They cleaned
Shut
out,
down the other team completely.
They cleaned out a team that was pretty geared to the hilt too, and they won. And people were betting me 3-1 odds on them, and I'm like, I gotta collect now. I'm sorry, this went backwards because I'm supposed to give you money. But that was fun. I liked the betting thing, but just as a mini game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, for those that don't know, Winner's Edge hasn't been doing any kind of Phoenix League. This was a newer thing for us. So we had some teams that were...
Most of the teams were all new players, basically, 3rd level or lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the teams was the peasant team.
Yeah.
And then one team, the team it was Hogman's team, but it was mixed with something else.
You had Hogman Madness and
Vaughn, I don't remember his Amcard name.
yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, that team was stacked to the hilt. They had actually come to play Phoenix League. They had someone on their team that was on one of the championship teams, or at least played in one of the championships. Hogman was decked out druid. by the way, grats Hogman on your Paragon Druid.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
deserved.
We should talk about awards separately at the end,
we
'cause
should.
there was a lot of
We
tomfoolery.
they had somebody in full 6 points of plate, running polearm. Like they took it very seriously. They wanted to come and have a super competitive Phoenix League match, and we had a bunch of newer players that were like, "Cool, Phoenix League sounds fun." I want to say that I'm actually pretty proud of Hogman's team because they didn't just absolutely dice all of the new kids that were only playing.
They
on
also
level
still
2.
played to win,
They did still play to
which
win.
was great.
Yeah.
They did still play to win, and I think they did win.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. But there was a balance there, right? They weren't just coming out and, reaping against the little level 1 and level 2 players that had only been in for a couple of weeks. So good sportsmanship all around there. I was really, really happy to see that. I think Phoenix League should be a regular part of our events. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, okay, so question, because I agree with you, but it would have to replace any kind of Midnight Ironman that we would normally do.
Honestly, I'm for that because the Midnight Ironmans have turned into not great. Well, they've always not been great, but
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All kingdoms of Vanguard that are listening to us right now, Midnight Ironman suck. I don't know where this culture came from that's like, oh, let's run an Ironman where the lighting is bad, people get hit in the head more, generally speaking, shrugging is worse. All of those things are just terrible, terrible things.
Also, at least in the southeast, the ground is just wet. Inexplicably, for like no good reason, the ground is always wet during a Midnight Ironman.
But yeah, I love Ironmans. Like I said, most of what I've been doing is more tournament and ditching and stuff like that since I originally got hurt. But Midnight Ironmans have always been a catastrophe, and I just hate them. So, I would be fine with Phoenix League.
It's more fun to
replacing
watch
that.
the Phoenix League stuff too.
Yeah,
like
and-
honest to God, that was way more fun to watch. I would just pick a team and mark out like it was pro wrestling. Like,
Yeah.
we kind of we heckled Madness and Farum Dawn, I think is what they went by. Madness and Hogman's team out the gate because like the only experienced people who realistically I think played Phoenix League ever was the peasant team. So we only won because we knew how to play the game.
yeah,
And the other team didn't. So we moved on to a round we probably shouldn't have. They also had people who they didn't have all their gear there at the time. So they had 2 peasants on their team and they're like, "Oh man, we're going to have to fight somebody without, with real team set up and blah blah blah." And then they look over and it's all 4 of us at the time, and I don't remember who jumped in, but whoever jumped in was a lifesaver, so we had a full 5-man team.
yeah.
I was not in the peasant team for that because knee.
Yeah. And so we went on, and then we played, I think, the team that came in second, actually, as the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's definitely video out there, I think Scarecrow
Of you
posted.
absolutely eating
eating shit for it. Yeah, it's horribly bad for me.
Like again, in that video, it's really bad. But like in that video, you try to juke something and just don't land on your feet.
No,
You
like
just,
I went to go like cricket bat a throwy down the line
Is that what
towards
that
the throw.
was?
Yeah. And so like I think I stepped and I think I got tangled up in the wet grass, and then my foot stopped because who knows why. And then I just fell on my face basically, and it was great.
Yeah, again, in the South, for whatever reason,
grass is always wet.
Yeah, it's just always wet.
If the sun isn't like in the middle of the sky, the grass is wet. No idea. Sucks. Humidity. But like my job as an NPC was to mark out and to make shiesty bets. So when you ate shit, you can hear me in the background of that video. I'm like,
Yeah. So when we went to go heckle Madness and them, we would use their names, and then about like 30 seconds into it, I was like, oh, they're listening for their name for spell casting and stuff. Maybe yelling their names from the sidelines not the best plan. Because I know for a fact Madness looked at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, right. That's probably not great.
yeah.
That's funny.
I am fully in favor, by the way, of replacing the Midnight Ironman with this tournament kind of thing, because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, autocrats out there in every kingdom, remember the idea is that you're making these events as fun for as many people as you possibly can. The Ironmans don't accomplish that.
I mean, it depends on your kingdom.
That's true.
And
It
stuff.
does depend on your kingdom. there's some kingdoms out there, I guess, where our kingdom classically has valued tournaments really, really highly.
Well, they think they valued it.
Yeah, until they got this. So yeah, try it out. Do a Friday night Phoenix League.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. It worked in our kingdom. I really want to see it coming back.
I mean, the key for Phoenix League, it's a highly competitive thing, but and I understand where people get kind of frustrated or this, that, and the other with it, and where it can get a bad name as a game. But the big key is your teams and your top teams specifically being good sports about things, despite it being a competitive format. I mean, you look at an end of a soccer game for competitive kids, right? They all shake hands at the end. I always thought it was dumb growing up, but make your team or use your competitive teams in the area, talk with them and have them shake hands after games and stuff like that. I think it really creates a better atmosphere for it and kind of humanizes the other team again.
Well, it also kind of ingratiates you to them, even if they just waffle stomped you, right? You just shook hands with them. Maybe you're not as afraid now to go up to them and be like, "Hey, how'd you do that thing?
Yeah.
What was that combo that you ran that just floored our whole team? What was that?"
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's no handshake, if there's nothing afterwards, and you just go your separate ways, you don't really want to go talk to them.
Yeah.
You're kind of sore from taking the L, right?
Have fun with it too. Have the teams register ahead of time and pick a theme song to come out to. You can be kind of silly with this.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun.
Why wasn't that an option at this event?
We didn't think about it.
No. Damn it.
Big boom box on the shoulder. Dude, I'd love it.
Oh, man. I want one of those so bad.
So, yeah, Phoenix League was a lot of fun. I thought of some things that I think would make the Phoenix League even more fun. Having the theme songs was one, but being able to do it where there's an announcer, you actually have an announcer's table, and the announcer is casting the game. They're calling the game as it's going on would be super fucking cool, right?
So that was actually something we had planned to happen for this, but whoever it was that was supposed to be doing the casting either wasn't there that night or they weren't able to get the PA system. I don't remember how it had happened, but that was in the works.
We were having some power problems that night, I know, because half the
I don't
lights
want
went
to
off
even.
at one
nope.
point. Okay,
It was bad.
I don't know what was going on with all of that. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I just know that the power shut off at one point and then came back on.
Don't
and whatever.
daisy chain your extension cords, folks.
Yeah. But yeah, so questing was a lot of fun. The Phoenix League was a whole lot of fun. Awards came around, and so we had a lot of awards to give out. There was quite a bit of makeup for people that had been turning stuff in over COVID. We still haven't had that many events in person since COVID. I think that this was our second or third is what I was going to say. So there's a little bit of catch up there to go on. Really, really cool to see some high level awards given out. I wish I could remember all of them. I know that that Ruby got one. I think
8th or 9th rows, I think.
Yeah. So big shout out there. I believe that Dale, Darkmoor, and what's her game name?
Dawn.
Dawn both got some high level awards. Shout out there. I'm gonna miss some, and I'm so sorry if I miss you. It's actually been several weeks since the event now, and we've all been doing crazy work stuff and traveling. So if I've missed you, I apologize. But some of the ones that were really fun for me was some of the master hoods that were given out. So to start with, Cabbage over here got his master crown, so congratulations there. The long suffering begins. The other master hoods that were given out. So Clover
got 3, by the way.
Yeah. But tell the story of how those were done, because this is
so. Clover ran a reign where it's do the thing, get the thing, and it was do the thing, get the thing immediately, basically. So he gave out a lot of IOUX award, and
I've got 2, one on the back of a Post-it note and then one on a script of some newspaper that he tore out.
So somebody literally got an IOU award from a pizza box, right? So
because that's what they had there in front of them at the time.
Yeah, so they had a pizza box IOU award. And so I heard about that and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do your award in a pizza box. Unbeknownst to me, I think Laryl made his hood, right?
Yeah, I think
so. She also had a Domino's pizza box, which randomly was the same company that I was like, we ordered, me and Jay, we were making macaroni awards, also part of the story too, at his house, and we ordered pizza from Domino's. So we were like, hey, I know this is an odd request, but can we get like 3 or 4 like spare pizza boxes? And they had no problem just giving us the boxes. So that was pretty cool.
Domino's, we don't ask questions.
Domino's, we don't make enough to care.
Yeah, right. And then, so we got those. I had joked around in the Monarchy chat, which Clover was part of, about making a macaroni award for somebody. Like, someone's getting it, right? And he was like, oh, man. Because he doesn't really care a whole lot about the award system necessarily. But he's like, oh, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to get a macaroni award or something along those lines. And I was like, all right, cool. It's yours. I'm going to do it. We'll do it. We're going with that. And so Jay makes a macaroni award for Vidalia for her Master Dragon.
Her Master
Which, by the
Lizard.
way,
it says
yeah.
Master Lizard on the
It
award,
does,
just to be clear.
Yeah, so let's pause for just a moment there in the story too, and give a big shout out to Vidalia, who does all of the art for the show. Was one of the members of WAP. Got her Master Dragon. Congratulations there.
There's a whole story behind that too that we'll get into.
Yeah, we're working up to it. So, like I said, Jay and I are making macaroni awards. I get a horrible headache in the middle of it because we did it just after park, and I didn't drink enough water, so I got like a dehydration headache.
Yeah.
And so I like die on his couch. We cooked the spaghetti and like regular spaghetti noodles, and then made shapes and let them dry, or not shapes, letters, and let them dry that way. And then I realized those are going to be too big for what I want to put on his scroll thing. So I get home.
You've made a birthday card before. A big ass bee.
Yeah, pretty much. I get home, and then I'm like, oh God. And I get up the next day, and I was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. And then I start messing with them, and Lexi's like, oh, those letters are too big. Maybe we can do them out of other things. And we take like an hour of going around to store looking for like wagon wheels for O's and stuff like this, and couldn't find them. Not a single store had wagon wheel friggin' pasta that day. And so I get home, and I don't particularly feel that great. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to go take an hour nap. Wake me up, and then I'm going to go finish this stupid thing, right? I sleep for about 4 hours, and I get down there, and she's took a jeweler saw and cut penne pasta into the perfect letters for everything. Like, I started it before I went to take a nap. I'm like, oh, you can arrange these to make these kinds of letters and stuff. And then I wake up, and it's all my letters are done. And so I took the lasagna noodles, and I cut the wrinkles off of them and made yeah, I made the back of it to look like a parchment kind of thing.
I ironed my lasagna.
Yeah. So I spray painted that white, and then black on the letters, and then blue trim, so it's the Winter's Edge colors to do everything for it. On one side I put all the letters with that, and then on the other side I put like, because I did a combo of his Smith and Battlemaster.
Yeah, you get 2 for $10.
Right. And my dumbass didn't check which of the 2 of the 3 awards I was supposed to make for the awards. So we accidentally doubled up on the Smiths because I think it was Lauren who made the other one. And then I was like, Lauren, I did a dumb. And she's like, no, we got this. We'll just make an IOU and Masterhood. And I was like, this is amazing. So she made this like very artistic IOU crumpled up piece of paper for a Masterhood, and it is the most perfect thing for it.
It's framed.
It's framed
in a
and
huge
everything.
Frame.
It was flat. She's like, it can't be flat. So it's wrinkled up. It's taped poorly onto the background.
It was construction paper that she
Yeah, it's
did
fantastic.
crayon. Yeah. But it's in a nice ass frame.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm going to interject here too, because I went up and talked to Clover afterwards. That was one of his favorite awards he's ever gotten. He's going to hang it up over, in the living room or whatever. And the pizza boxes too, right? I mean, both of them were great. So
that's not the whole thing, right?
yeah, I was about to say, we got to talk about how these awards get given.
We were going to get somebody to deliver the pizza boxes for us. And that person, I don't think, made the event. No, they didn't. And so I was originally going to get Lucas because he's kind of a ham for stuff to do that. But then it dawned on us that oh, how about we get the Feast Crack guy to do it? So we did that, and
That was, Greymane, yeah.
Greymane did an amazing job, because all of a sudden I started the spiel of stuff of like what Clover's done and blah blah blah, and then because the plan was they were going to interrupt us and have him pay for the pizzas. Basically, he's like, now, who didn't like my feast so bad, basically, that they had to go and order pizza and things like this, and like he was mad about it.
Sounded mad,
dude. Like I looked up.
I've been in the kitchen for 10 hours cooking for you guys, and somebody orders pizza.
I was sitting in the back of the feast hall because I don't like being up front for all of that anyway. I was sitting at the back of the feast hall, and people legit thought he was gonna throw hands. Like Jeff is doing the thing, Clover has done a lot for the kingdom. If anybody's seen, the past couple of reigns, here's everything that he's done, blah, 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 blah. And Clover, we think it's time that we pull you up here and then here comes Greymane, and he's like, he stops the whole thing. He's screaming. He's like, I made all this good ass food and somebody orders Domino's. What the hell? And like, he's charging down the thing, and it looks like he's gonna like hockey check Clover, right? So like from the back of the room,
dude,
nobody knew what was up.
Clover turned around and looked at me. He was like, I didn't order any pizza.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
So like props to Greymane, because he delivered that way better than I would have, and like people were genuinely like, it stopped court. It got silent for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then he was like, I got pizzas for C Lover. And then everyone was like, oh, this is a joke. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, it's a bit. Okay.
So he brings them up there, and the hood comes out of one, and I undo mine and set it on the table with the macaroni scroll on the inside of it. Give him the other one, slam 3 hoods on him, and then go on with that one. It's actually on the Radiant Valley TikTok, I think.
That tracks, honestly.
Yeah. And then the Great Deception happened, which was amazing. It was literally 6 months in the making, maybe more.
It might be a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out a way to make Vidalia make her own scroll and not realize she's making her own Master Dragon scroll, because I thought it would be really funny. But like, this is part of the reason why Jay made her other scroll, because I don't think it would have been fair that she didn't get something from someone else also. So it was not exactly the best of things, but
and we had always joked with
the
her
hood
about
kind of
making
made
her.
up for it.
Yeah, we had always joked about making her a macaroni scroll.
Yeah,
is where that came in. So.
And she's always like, I want a macaroni scroll, blah blah blah. So it happened. So I can't remember if it was me or you, but one of us contacted Merrick, was like, hey man, can you request Lauren to make a Conan scroll for someone in your kingdom?
For those that don't know, Vidalia's favorite movie, and perhaps the only movie she's ever seen, is Conan. That's not a joke. That
loves it.
Yeah.
And so she was like asking questions about it and things like this, and she was like, well, what kind of scroll is it for? So I can kind of theme it to them. What parts of Conan do they like and stuff like that? So, we were like, oh, it's a Master Dragon. And that right there was like, oh, she's going to figure it out there.
Yeah, we're riding close to the edge on that one.
And I think Lucas saved the day on that one.
I had to run a 7-month psyop on my fucking fiance. Like when we say gaslight, gatekeeping, girl boss, that was me for 7 fucking months. Like she would get close to figuring it out, and then I would destroy her emotionally. I felt bad for most of it, but it was the funniest fucking payoff. Because she's like, I'm making a Conan scroll. It's a Master Dragon scroll. I'm making it for Merrick. Isn't that weird? And I was like, man, that's fucking cruel. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you want a fucking Conan scroll, and now you're not going to get one because this guy's getting one. And she's like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm going to go work on the scroll now for a little bit. I was like, sorry. Like, I was having to do that shit for 6 months.
So we do that, and over 6 months, we get everything kind of going. Merrick's like, hey, she asked this question. How should I answer it? And then I'm like, maybe this? Lucas, you need to really get on that one.
Yeah, I'm like feeding info to Merrick, like say this, but say it like this, and don't say it at this time. Say it, a little bit later in the day, so it seems like you're not coordinating. Like we had it down to like timing our messaging and shit.
And then, so we get to the event, or no, it was the Thursday before. Merrick and Imhog were over here.
Hold on.
Oh yeah,
I got conned into making a whole fucking hood. So I know what's going on. Like Jeff is doing this, and Lauren goes, oh, fuck, I told Merrick I'd make the hood. And I'm like, well, I guess you got to make a hood then. She's like, I don't know how to make a hood. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I had assumed that Jeff already had a hood in the works. Like, so that's why he only had the scroll going to Merrick and then Vidalia. So I now have to make a hood for Lauren without her knowing that it's for her. So, like, I made, it's the Cultist of Set. If you ever watch the movie, they're the big, pointy, they're almost Egyptian looking. And they're, okay.
They're ugly.
I made a really good hood, and it's the worst fucking hood ever because it's film accurate.
Yeah.
And they're fucking terrible in the movie. But I'm having to make this hood to like assuage Lauren's fears that she's not going to be able to deliver this hood for some other dude's master dragon. And I'm having her try it on. And taking pictures of her in it. She's like, I want a hood like this. And I was like, well, I figured out how to pattern. Like, you know, once you get your master hood, whenever that happens, we can make you one. It's not a big deal. You know, I'm like running it under the, like, just sliding it under. And I went so far as to make the hood a little bit too big for her.
Oh, yeah.
On the first try on, I had her try it on. She's like, oh, it's a little too big. And I was like, well, it's for a guy's head, so that'll be fine. And then, like, later that night, I had to go in and, like, stitch it, put it back, make it a little bit fucking smaller. And then I had to make it so she could never try it on again, or else she'd notice.
Yeah.
And this is all for a hood that was not actually her master hood.
No, not at all.
So I'm like, all right, hood's done, folded it, put it away, and just kind of tucked it in with the scroll. And I was like, yeah, give that to Merrick.
So we get Thursday, they come in, and, you know, Lauren's showing off some of the other awards that she made to everyone. And then handed the scroll off to Merrick. And I was like, all right, cool. Merrick decided that he would do the lettering and stuff like that in the vinyl stuff that he does. And it looks friggin' awesome, by the way.
It casts a shadow. Like, the way it works is it casts the shadow through the glass onto the scroll. It's so cool.
So for reference here, think about the scroll being in the background, and of course you have the glass over the front, and the lettering is on the glass. So it's kind of, it creates this 3D image sort of thing. It's really cool. Really cool looking.
Yeah. And so he goes and puts it on at the hotel, probably day of, basically.
Yep.
And then we started to do a thing, I think it was this event that we started it, that if you had made the scroll or something, the award or anything like that, then you could also be the one to hand it to them if you wanted to. And I thought that was actually really cool.
I love that as an idea.
Yeah, and it went really well, and I think people really like to do that too. So I think I'm going to continue to do that. It was really good. So I present her with the Macaroni Award, and got with Merrick and was like, okay, you're going to sneak up and give this to her, right? And so Jay presents her with this horrible macaroni award. Also, Jay and I thought it'd take like an hour max to make these things. These things took like 4 or 5 hours. Don't do a macaroni award and try to be an good award. It's not worth it, let me tell you.
It sounds easy, but it's not.
It's not at all.
Hold on. So one other thing.
Oh, yeah.
So Lauren's nosy.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren is fucking nosy, and if you don't lock her out of shit she's not supposed to have access to, she'll just look at your award recs, because she had access to them at one point. Nobody ever locked her out. So Lauren does find out she's getting a masterhood. So at this point, I'm having to double down on the gaslighting here. I'm like, did your friends tell you that? That's stupid. You know, like, I'm really having it, because now she knows she's getting a masterhood. She's like, am I making my own masterhood scroll? I said, no, this is something from Eric. I know who's making your masterhood scroll. Which was a mistake, because 20 times a day for the last 3 months of this whole endeavor, she's like, who's making my scroll? I want to guess who it is. Is it man or woman? I was like, we are not playing guess who with your masterhood scroll. And she goes, come on, give me a hint. You know, she's like, every fucking day trying to get some information out of me about this scroll. And I'm like, I'm stonewall. I'm like, not letting it happen. And I was like, I can use this to fuck with her.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
It was so good.
So I would sometimes say, like, oh, yeah, the guy that's making it's pretty cool. She's like, it's a guy? And I'm like, oh, no, I just slipped up. Sorry. Yeah, the girl that's making it's pretty cool. And I would just do shit like that to throw her off the trail or whatever. And eventually she got to the point where she asked the one question I could answer honestly. She goes, well, do I like the person making my scroll? And I said, nah, not really. And she goes, oh, is it going to be a good scroll? I said, probably. She's like, but I don't like the person making it. I said, no. And she started naming people. She's like, who is it? This one? Is it this one? Is it this one?
She
and I'm
had
like,
her guess who list ready.
Yeah, like based off the you might not like the person making the scroll, she had a whole list of people, which maybe a little problematic, but whatever, fine. She's like, well, what about the person making my hood? I was like, oh, you hate the person making your hood. Like I was like, you're really not gonna like the person making your hood. So then Jay presents her with this award, and so far I've been right. She's like, Jay's a little bit of a bastard. That makes sense. So continue.
Yeah, so I presented and like, oh yeah, but Jay's really bad at making awards. So here's the Macaronius award. So I had to find someone else to make your award, and Merrick's standing behind her with this amazing looking award. And I was like, oh, it's right here. And she turns around and gets it, and it's just ugly cry down to the ground. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Made all 6 months of everything worth it for me.
Yeah.
Everyone that had been everyone that knew that she was doing this happened to be sitting up at the very front. And so when she starts ugly crying, we're all in between two benches. She turns to us and goes, you know.
Well, she had been telling everybody that she's getting a Masterhood scroll. So then people are coming to me like, hey, do you know who's making Lauren's Masterhood scroll? And I'm like, listen, Justin, I'm going to tell you. But if you say a word of this, I will hunt you down and murder you in your sleep. He's like, no, man, we're cool. I can keep a secret. And I was like, you fucking better.
Yeah.
So like I tell him, and then, a little bit later, somebody else would come up and I'm like, okay, look. Can you be quiet for 4 hours until we give this thing out? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Here's the deal. So like the people in the front row all had recently found out and were trying to get in position to to watch this happen.
Yeah.
Nice.
No joke. I think the Radio Valley TikTok has like the shenanigans of all of it on it. So you should totally check it out because it is kind of funny. I even rewatched and was like, because I thought I was like, maybe this won't go over well. Like, it'll be great for me because I like this dumb stuff, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to translate well. And like 2 hours beforehand, I'm like, oh no, this is a bad idea, isn't it? This is definitely. I'm going to go through with it because I'm already this far.
Yeah,
but
I didn't come with a backup plan, so we're just going to white knuckle through the ceremony.
But it seemed like it turned out really well. Both the pizza box thing. Big shout out to Greymane. He made all of that worth it. And then Merrick as well and Lucas for getting the rest of the shenanigans on Lauren's thing set up is so good.
And then Ruby made her actual hood.
Yeah,
and that thing was
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's got like hand stitched dragon on it. It has the hood has a fucking pocket, you guys.
Yeah.
It has a pocket.
I mean, she's just gonna lose something in it for you.
Because she always loses her phone. She lost her phone twice at this event, so it has a pocket to put her phone in.
Yeah, but then she's never gonna find it again.
Can't wait till we watch that phone.
Yeah. She lost the hood.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
she
not
lose
joking.
Let's
see.
A lot of cool hoods got me. I want to shout out Lexi for making my hood. That thing was cool as shit.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to put it on your head whenever it was handed to me.
Yeah, I just got a yote at me. I was like, what? I didn't even know I was getting an award, so I was already kind of like, why am I here? Oh, fuck.
Heralder, I don't remember what award he got, but his was also kind of this cool 3D shadow box kind of award.
And it had You Lost the Game hidden in the
Oh, no, that was
box.
Avi.
Was that
Oh,
Avi?
that was
Okay.
Avi.
The
Sorry.
Shadow box. Yeah,
Avi.
Brawl, I believe, made that one.
Yeah, grats to Avi. What was it that Avi got?
10th Owl, maybe?
No,
Smith?
you gave him that, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head which.
So, Avi,
whichever
congratulations to whatever you got. We forgot what it was because, again, we're filming this way after the event.
A lot of shit happened, and in my defense, I was way hungover. So, like,
You mentioned patches, and so I'm going to take my headset off and grab something real quick.
Oh,
because
yeah,
for
yeah,
those
you
that
got
don't know, Patches and Ink. Ink is one of the new faces in our kingdom. She's been making some amazing stuff. This is so good. I ended up getting my 9th rose while I was at the event. I have to show you all this this award because it's crazy. Hold on just a sec.
Yeah, like, no joke, this is amazing, but there was also a lot of other amazing
There were
scrolls
so
and stuff
many
like
cool
that. Everyone
ones.
did a really, really, really good job for them.
I fucking love that hood Lexi made, though. She knows I'm a slut for cool collars. So
Yeah.
it has, like, a lapel collar built into the hood.
Yep.
It's dope.
All right, so
You're off camera.
Yeah, you're going to have to Vanna White
yeah,
this
yeah,
a little
no.
closer
I was
to-
turning it on first. So
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
here is the award that Ink made. It lights
Oh, it
up.
does come out pretty good.
Yeah.
I was worried the lights behind it was going to make it kind of weird looking.
You can see our screen.
Yeah, no, don't look at that part of it.
But yeah, so this is the award that she made. The whole thing lights up. It has lights built into it on the back here. It is amazing. Thank you so much, Ink. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot. All of the award is actually written on the back here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, I liked that whoever put my name on it. Like, personally, I like seeing the names of the people presenting them on there, but not needing to sign them. That's irritating because I'm like, I don't want to sign this beautiful award with my horrible handwriting. Let me sign the back, I guess.
Yeah, Lauren has an award that's signed by Clover, and a little offense clover, but it looks like it's awarded by King Clobber. And it's just
okay. That's what I'm calling him from now on. Clobber.
Sure, fine, but like that is not who So it, but the way it's written in there is King Clobber. Like, fine.
So
Clobber in time.
One more thing to wrap up here too, because there were other awards that were given out. Again, if we missed you at all, and you were one of the people that received a high level award,
if I had thought that I should bring the list, I would have brought it, but I didn't really think about it.
You guys know
that's a regent's job.
We weren't going to do that. Cade got knighted.
Yes.
Squire Cade is now Sir Cade. So congratulations to Cade. Congratulations to
Knight of the Flame. Yeah.
Knight of the Flame. Yes. Congratulations to his knight Kazan.
I like that they had the little PA thing so everyone could hear. That was cool. I really liked that. So
his knight actually had like a PC Principal headset. Thanks. That he did the whole ceremony with, and there were speakers set up, and it was a really, really cool way to do it. It was all wireless.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It made sure that the voice carried. There was tiki torches that I almost set myself on fire with.
The tiki torches also had the fuel that made them burn green.
Green, yes.
Like seraphim green.
Yeah, Flo definitely walked up behind one of them, and I was like, Flo, you can't stand there, and pushed him forward. And he's like, what? I'm like, you're on fire.
And not in the NBA Jam sort of way.
Yeah.
For anyone
Good
that's
game, by the way.
Yeah, for anyone that's under 25. NBA Jam was an arcade game. For anyone that's under 25, arcade games were a thing that you went and played at an arcade. They were.
I think you're a little generous with the under number there. It's probably legit like under 29.
Oh, I'm old. But yeah, so that was a whole lot of fun. I actually got to do something really cool for Cade. So I was the one that officiated Cade and Catnip's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the wedding, I included something from the book that's right over my shoulder right here, which is Rules for a Night. And there was a particular section in there that I included because I thought it was really relevant to some things that were going on in their life at the time. I kept that book. Now, that I wasn't the one that found this book. It was actually Sir Gillen that turned me on to this book, and he has a really cool story about where it came from. We should have him on sometime so he can tell it. So he's the one that turned me on to this book, but I knew then that Cade was going to be getting knighted eventually. He was already pretty high up, 7, 8. I don't remember what he had at the time. This was many, many years back. But you just have that feeling with some people, right, that this person is going to end up being knighted. So I made notes through the margins of the entire book at different points when me and Cade would have conversations or something. I marked off the part that I used for their wedding and put the date and stuff like that. And then I put a whole caption at the very beginning of the book when we were finally giving it for his knighting, and I handed it to him as a knighting gift.
That's really cool. I didn't know you had written in it and everything. I knew that you had given that out because I think it's really cool.
I'd have drawn a bunch of dicks in it. I don't write things in margins.
That's what I'm doing for knighting gifts that you get if you end up getting knighted.
Great.
It's just good. It's dicks from heel to toe all the way through.
Dicks of history. Napoleon.
It's like the snails that are in the margins.
Yeah, right. Those have a name, and I can't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what they are either.
There's actually, when I got knighted, that's what Sir Kazan gave me. It was like
a snail?
It's still sitting in my living room.
Oh, that's cool. Where that came from. Okay.
Yeah, and he told me the whole story about why the snail was there, and it's like back in the old days, it would represented lethargy, like being lethargic and stuff like that, and they were all considered enemies of a knight, and that's why you always see knights like spearing them and fighting.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of cool.
We got to talk about some of Cade's knighting gifts, and I know we're running long. Some of Cade's knighting gifts. Did you guys get to hold the sword?
Oh my God, it's really nice.
Like that, I don't know where that sword came from, but it was nice.
Yeah, people talk about, these shots won't work with real weapons, blah, blah, blah. No, they would have worked fine with that thing.
I'd shot your kidneys right the fuck out of your body with that thing, dude.
Yeah.
So it was super light. Yeah. It was super, super light for what it was, and it was not a...
It was like a slightly heavy sword for our game.
Yeah, it was a slightly heavy sword for Amtgard, and it was not one of the thin, what I would describe as like a fencing or wispy blade, because Kazan actually has...
No, it was a broadsword. It was just like bog standard.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was just so well balanced, very light, very, very, very sharp.
Yeah, it was cool as shit. And then the tunic, which I think Catnip made, And Catnip was the only one who could make it because his Phoenix is so goddamn complicated that I don't think anybody else was willing to. It's a super cool Phoenix, but God, it's got a lot of parts to it. So I think Catnip told a little bit of a story about making that and how it took her a long time to piece it together in Kazan's floor and all that.
I've mentioned this before, but if you want anyone to ever make you garb, be mindful of the type of Phoenix that you get, because if you make some kind of crazy shit-fuck complicated Phoenix, no one's going to sew it.
Red, Yeezus, square. Done and done.
I had originally said that I was going to do an 8-bit Phoenix. I thought that it would be kind of cool, and I ended up taking my Knight's Phoenix because there wasn't anybody in the Beltline that had taken it, and I didn't want it to die, and it's also kind of a derpy Phoenix.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I like the derpy face
fine.
to it.
Yeah.
I have a whole thing about Phoenixes. Have I talked to you guys about this?
No, what is
Is it time? Do we want to do this on a separate episode, or do we want to do?
Yeah,
it
let's
now?
do a separate one for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just,
that'd be
we'll cut it
cool.
here and call it to be continued. But like, I have a whole thing about Phoenixes and why I don't want a personal Phoenix, and I can elaborate on that later. Is there anything to wrap up this episode?
Would you like a hand-me-down Phoenix?
Red,
actually,
he's a square. I'm telling you guys.
So I do have a wrap up here, and it is a really common one for us. I once again want to say thank you to all of our Patreons and anyone who has supported the channel in any way. It really does make a difference because, as you can see with the mic troubles that I was having, we break equipment all of the time. And I promise it's not only because we're dumb. There's other reasons in there as well.
Mostly because we're dumb.
Mostly because we're dumb. You'll also notice I don't have a pop filter on mine where everyone else does. You want to know why? I fucking broke it. But it really does help. If you can give anything and you'd like to support us in any way, all of the links will be in the bottom there. One of the easiest ways to support us, though, is just to like and subscribe.
And share.
And share. It really does help. We are the channel. At one point, I would always kind of tease us and say thanks to our 25 listeners, but we have actually got a pretty big audience now, and I want to thank everyone for helping that happen. But if we could keep on getting those likes, those shares, those subscribes, it's going to unlock our ability to bring even more content to you guys, which we really want to do.
Yeah. Oh, is that my cue to roll the outro?
I didn't have anything.
God, it's been like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I was
thanks,
really.
Jeff. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or Spotify to get notified about new episodes. And make sure to follow us on Facebook for announcements and more.